Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our daily practice live with Nikhil. And in today's discussion, we'll be continuing along the themes of yesterday, where we looked at several aspects of being human and how we can understand some of the little nuances of just that. Again, this is a active practice. So whenever you feel like we need to share something, please feel free to comment in the comment sections and we will engage in a live interactive way as we go through each of these ideas which I am about to present to you. So if you're new here, welcome. If you're here for the 685th time, also welcome. And anywhere in between, also welcome. So I often get the question, what is evolution? Not in the sense of Darwin and evolution, but in the sense of what happens when we practice daily with intention on certain things. So what happens, there is this strange moment in life when you realize you're not who you used to be. Not in a sad sense, but in a curious, open sense. Not in a dramatic movie montage kind of way, which is also fun to imagine, but quietly in a refined way. You look around, the same people, the same places, but something inside you feels different. This happened really vividly for me when I was working in the corporate job, in a corporate world. At one point, I was looking at myself, what I was doing, and looking at the people around me, the same people. And there was this moment where it became so clear to me that I was not meant to be here. I was meant to be somewhere else. And again, this is not to say that the corporate world is bad or evil, nothing like that. This is about my own perspective, my own shift. And this is what I'm talking about, evolution. Evolution doesn't have to be all rainbows and butterflies. It can be as challenging sometimes for our own inner perspectives, identities. So when you feel that discomfort, when you feel that knot in your stomach, it is not that something is bothering you, it's actually you are shifting yourself. So in terms of evolution, what we focus on is the process, is the practice. And in those moments are the moments where we just notice, okay, I feel different. And what can I do here? So now you've outgrown a version of yourself that used to feel like home. And that, my friend, is both beautiful and lonely. Growth isn't always this radiant, enlightened thing. Sometimes it's, again, sitting in your car after meeting an old friend and thinking, wow, we don't connect the way we used to. Sometimes it's saying no to something you've said yes to 100 times, and then sitting with the guilt that follows. So in this episode, we are going to talk about evolving without losing yourself, how to grow without hardening, how to stay kind without being a doormat, how to be okay when you're not okay, and how to make peace with not being understood. So take a breath with me and let's go there. So, in each of these explorations, I invite you to ask questions if there are things which are popping up, and then we will get to it as we go through each of these questions, each of these areas. So, number one, outgrowing who you used to be. Have you ever noticed how growth rarely announces itself? Is not fireworks and clarity, it's confusion, it's discomfort, it's the ache of becoming something else there's no manual, without any guidance. I remember a period in my life where I was trying to hold on to everything: friendships, routines, beliefs, all the things which I've learned. I wanted to keep that. I wanted to have a network with everyone, and I could feel myself changing. It's almost like I'm afraid that I would change too much, I'd disappear. Maybe that's what we all fear. And that in evolving, we lose familiar parts of ourselves. That is the crux. But what we fail to understand is that we don't just lose ourselves when you grow. We shed our costumes we once wore to belong. We all start out trying to find something that fits the narratives, the good employee, the easygoing friend, the understanding partner. And then one day you wake up realizing that the version of you that kept everyone comfortable was quietly suffocating. So, growth is not rebellion, it's reclamation. It's the moment you stop living by who you were expected to be and start honoring who you are becoming. But it's lonely, isn't it? Because not everyone will clap for the version of you that sets boundaries, that says no, that asks for space, and that is okay. So sometimes silence is the sound of alignment. And this may resonate with you, absolutely. Thank you, Kim, for sharing that. It's yeah, it can happen, and it's a difficult phase. Trying to find who I am is is a difficult, yet it is a beautiful phase as well. And that's what I want us to really tune in on. It's the quirkiness. It's the less serious aspect about finding ourselves, or finding our true meaning and purpose. And these are things which we say to ourselves, but in essence, what it is trying to do is just make us feel more aligned with who we want to be. And that's what we are going to do. The mourning the old me, that is a great way, and a great way of respecting, being considerate of what we were and how we are going. And again, is not to shame anything, not to guilt trip anyone or yourself. It's about really truly encouraging yourself to be the person who you want to be. And that's challenging because every signal outside of us is trying to say, don't do this because this will not work, or this has never been done. Why would you, etc. All the noise which comes with it, comes with trying to slightly expand your comfort zones. So, number two, kindness without losing yourself. Let's talk about kindness, okay? Because we live in a culture that confuses kindness with being a compliance person. Be kind, yes, but don't confuse kindness with the need to please. I've learned this sometimes the hard way, that being kind does not mean you must be liked, and being compassionate does not mean you must be available all the time. There's this quiet strength in setting a boundary without closing your heart, like saying, I love you, but I can't hold this conversation right now. Or, I care about you, but I need to honor what's true for me. And I used to think that setting a boundary made me less spiritual, less zen. And with mindfulness and with being able to be with who I am, practicing taught me that compassion without boundaries leads to a place called resentment. And resentment is the unspoken anger with a smile on top. The true kindness starts with real self respect. Because you can't pour love from an empty cup, and you can't offer patience if you have burned yourself out trying to be everyone's peacekeeper. Again, these are practices we have to intentionally activate within our journey. So next time you find yourself over explaining or over pleasing, over giving, over accommodating, pause, ask yourself, am I doing this out of love or out of fear of being disliked? Like that question alone can save years of unnecessary exhaustion. So, what does kindness without losing yourself mean to you? Your situation and the thought, why am I here, surfaces, then anxiety about what to do. My life was filled with people before I woke up, if you will. I feel I've been alone since. Loneliness is an understatement. That is a powerful message because that is less talked about in this journey. We always think like, okay, yeah, you can find a group, you can explore, but we all sometimes get into that place where it is lonely. And in that moment, it's important to really practice self-compassion and kindness. And not in a just reading a Instagram post kind of way. It is more deeper than that. Maybe even being with yourself alone and being that kind friend, maybe even having conversations with yourself. Somehow we need to befriend our best selves. Somehow we have to understand this loneliness is just temporary and it's just part of this growth phase which we are looking forward to. And again, there are people out there who are aligned, or maybe not just aligned, we need different perspectives, but who are open and who are kind enough to be part of this process. Lydia, you saying, I find it incredibly frustrating when others value systems that are so misaligned with mine. It is a challenge, and that is exactly what we do with these kind of practices, is just noticing that, oh, that is something I do not believe in, and I have this opportunity now to engage or disengage or act out of kindness, compassion, set boundaries. Okay, these are things I will not talk about, or these are things I do not need someone else's opinion about, or these are the things which I will not engage in. And that's how we clearly set a boundary, by taking back our control of the situation in the sense of who we are. I invite you to think about it that way as well. Is finding your tribe again and again and again. I think that's a great idea. Patricia says is finding your tribe. Again, I think this is again undervalued. We find tribe where we don't really need tribes, but we stick onto those tribes as though our lives dependent on them. Like sports teams, great by the way, but this just is just an added layer of frustration we just bring on to ourselves because we support some people wearing some colored clothes and dancing around in a field. And I'm not taking a dig at any people because I love sports. And it's not just that, it's just that we associate with tribes so easily in realms and fields which we like, but we don't associate any tribes in the fields we want to grow and take ourselves to the next step, because we believe that we should do this alone. We believe that, okay, my own growth is my own self identity, and I either do not believe that someone else can be part of this because it is selfish, or selfless, or the path itself is something as one should be doing, but we don't realize that we are not just oneself. We are part of this vast network connections. We are social creatures. If even to take it next step, we are just energies floating around in space. We are all connected in multitude, millions, fascinating ways. So the idea itself is just not completely right. So when you think about change, you should think about changing with others. Now the problem is, like, when the people are not when we are not aligned with the other perspectives, that is where friction happens, and then we get slightly burned and then we come back. But if we find people, places, and this doesn't have to cost money also, this is also another important aspect. People think, okay, if I'm going to do this, I need to spend X and Y, and this is just going to be a retreat in the woods, and I don't know if I like the people, I don't like the food, etc. But there are other ways. There are many ways in which you can cultivate those tribes for yourself. Yeah, exactly. So this is the mentality which has been proliferating nowadays, is the polarizing, like, my belief over yours. I know what I'm doing. And the funniest thing about all that is the people who really know about things, and I'm saying people who really know about things usually know about one or two things. They don't know everything. Like an expert in neuroscience is not an expert in chess, or an expert in, maybe they are, I don't know. That's a hobby. An expert in neuroscience may not be an expert in chemistry, may not be an expert in economics, but we associate this halo effect to people around us, where we find, oh, this person is maybe good at this, maybe they're good at everything. But that's a cognitive bias which we need to watch out for. But we have so much opinions about people, and the people who have opinions or the beliefs, whether it's right or wrong, are the ones who don't know much. And the people who know a lot, they always doubt themselves. They're like, okay, this statement which I'm about to say, I don't think it is right, or it's something which I need to do more research on, more ideas on, more thoughts about. So yeah, That is the difference. So whenever you hear people say this is exactly how it should be, they're usually wrong. And you can be attuned to that, because that is easy, because most people will have their opinions. Now, if you ask me what my opinion about something is, I would have an opinion, and it could be a strong opinion based on my life experience, based on my circumstances. But that doesn't mean that it is right for you, or that doesn't mean I am 100% right. That just means that in this moment, from all the informations I could gather, which is very little, I have made an opinion which serves me in a certain way. And it may serve me in the future, may not serve me in the future. And when it comes to it, we will find out. So that is the difficulty with this black or white, or polarizing talks, which one side has this idea, one the other side doesn't have this idea. So yeah, overthinking, analyzing every conversation in case you said something they upset. Another layer, yeah, this is it. Overthinking comes in. Not much understanding. It's all cut and dried, right or wrong, when people are more complex. Yeah. Absolutely. This is it. So let's look at the third aspect of evolving. Being okay when you're not okay. This is a strange situation in self improvement, growth, whatever you want to call it, where we have to be always okay, always positive, resilient, high vibe. But in real life, it's not about perfecting any of these states. It's about permission to feel what's true without judgment. Sometimes you're not okay. That's okay. You don't need to fix every emotion. Just need to feel it fully without tuning into a story about it. Emotions, again, as I often say, are like weather. They pass through. If you stop trying them, if you stop trying to hold on to them, they just pass through. So take this mindful breath together, wherever you are, sitting, walking, listening. Just feel your breath move in through the nose and out through the body. Notice where you hold any tension, and as you exhale, let it soften. Not to get rid of it, but to be with it gently. And what we just did there, that is what emotional intelligence looks like in real life. Not being perfectly composed, but being intimately present in what's here, even if it is messy. And sorry, especially if it is messy. And four, the art of not needing to be understood. Now, this may be the most important thing I've ever said in my life. One of the most freeing things you'll experience is the moment you stop needing everyone to understand you. I will say that again. The most freeing thing you'll ever experience is the moment you stop needing everyone to understand you. Because not everyone will. Not your parents, not your old friends, sometimes not even your life partner. And that's not a tragedy, that's liberation. You see, needing to understand keeps us shackled. We start editing ourselves to be digestible, and we are not biscuits. We water down our truth to stay safe. But when you stop performing for validation, you start connecting from authenticity. There's this quiet confidence that comes when you no longer are seeking approval. And this can happen pretty fast if we are open to it. A lot of us are not taking this very easy step, in my opinion. I know who I am, even if you don't. And this is the statement you should repeat to yourself. I know who I am, even if you don't know me, even if you don't know who I am. And that's the form of spiritual maturity, to stay open, kind, and loving, even when others misread you in their own way. Because their misunderstanding doesn't diminish your clarity. And here's the thing, growth isn't made of again, grand transformations. It's built in these tiny moments, these tiny areas. We glorify those montages where you before and after pictures. Unfortunately, we haven't come up with an easy way to depict that with our mind states. We easily use that with the body, but then we don't use that with the mind. We don't have a oh before evolving, before 30 days of practice, before maybe we should. I think that's a good idea. So maybe we should all do a 30-day practice on something which helps us improve, and then see what happens. Physically we might be the same, but mentally I'm sure they'll be different. So anything we can do to save the day. The one conscious breath before replying to that harsh email. The small pause before reacting in anger. The mindful sip of coffee before the rush of the day. These are all micro practices. The moment you are typing in what you want to feel, or what you feel, or what you think about, the moment you feel the energy of awakening, moment you feel the energy of transformation, the practices which we cultivate to develop who we are, the moment you feel discomfort is a moment that saves the day. I call them anchor moments, the little pauses that pull you back into your body and remind you you're here, you're enough. You don't have to fix everything today. And this mindfulness magic isn't escaping the chaos. It's, as always, learning to find peace within it. Sometimes the peace looks like laughter. Sometimes it looks like a walk. Sometimes it's just giving yourself permission to say, I'm tired, and that's okay. These are all small acts of awareness that keep you soft while the world gets sharp. So, if you are evolving right now, if you are outgrowing old versions of yourself, having new boundaries, or sitting with emotions that feel too heavy to name, remember this. You don't need to rush to become someone new. You're already in the process, and that's enough. Growth doesn't mean becoming more, it means becoming truer. So take care of your tenderness, stay kind, stay grounded, and when you don't know what to do next, just breathe. The breath is a bridge between you, or who you were, and who you're becoming. So thank you for being here. And if this conversation spoke to you, share it, and also help other people learn and grow gently. And before you go, take a moment to journal this question. Where in my life am I evolving quietly? And how can I honor that process with kindness? Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for being part of the daily practice with Nikhil. And I'll see you again soon. Take it easy.